What and Jonathan, welcome to my channel. My name is Stefania if you're new here. So today we are going to be playing with the Natasha Denona mini gold palette. She has had a million new releases lately. I hope that this is it for the holidays. I can't afford no more. But we are going to be going over the mini gold palette, comparisons, all that good stuff. I have some thoughts. I wanted to pick up her gold highlighter palette that she came out with, but I could not do it. It was $42. If it had come out in a mini, I totally would have grabbed it. But I was just kind of like, it's expensive, and I knew only one shade would work on my skin tone, so I passed on that, even though I really wanted it. But I was like, no, you don't need it. So anyways, I'm going to let you know my thoughts on this guy. So let's go ahead and hop into this video. Please don't forget to subscribe down below. I would really appreciate it. And let's go in. Okay. So, I have a lot of weird songs stuck in my head. That one, and like, do you remember the Anastasia movie, like from the Romanoffs? It was like one of my favorites as a kid, and those songs are somehow stuck in my head, and I haven't watched that movie in years. And I'm like, what's wrong with me? Why haven't they made that into a movie yet? Why? I don't want to watch the serious show that's on like Amazon or something. Like, no, it was a fun show for me. So, movie. Anyways, we have the mini gold palette. So, before I dip my dirty paws, this is what she looks like. I always forget how tiny these palettes are until I like have them, and I'm like, oh, it's so itty bitty. But I much prefer the price point. I would not have, I can say I wouldn't have bought this if it was the like $48 five shadow like palette. Like, I don't wear green enough for that, and I already have the gold palette. So this one made sense just because I was really happy she included one shade from the gold palette, even though it is advertised as the mini gold palette. So I like it because it's not a dupe in my collection. Not saying there's not dupable shades, but like, I'm okay that only one shade is a dupe, like for buying wise. It is cruelty free, 25 bucks. You get 5 shadows. Let's jump in. Like, I'm so excited to use this. My boss is gonna have to wait. He's texting me and I'm just like, no, not now. The mini eyeshadows, obviously it comes with a clear top, so you don't have a mirror, but I'm totally, it's fine. It is what it is. I get more upset when a palette's like super expensive and it's a bigger one where I'm like, you could have put a mirror in here, you know? So we are gonna dip in, I don't even know. I think I'm gonna dip in with the green shades. So we're gonna start with this one and maybe go in with the other matte. There's only 2 mattes, so at least you'll know what I'm talking about. But I saw this and I was like, ooh. But at the same time, I'm also like, Natasha, I don't have money for this. So I really hope that she, like, this is it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, no more. Like, these are considered your holiday palettes. This is limited edition. So I'm just kind of like, no more palettes, please. At least until, like, after Christmas. Like, you've gotten enough attention. And I'm not really ready to think about holidays. Like, I need to film a new releases video, but I'm also, like, overwhelmed already. Like, I'm just like, no. It is not time for Christmas. It just makes me think of like my bank account and all the gifts I need to buy. And it just, Christmas used to be fun, and now it's not fun, at least in my opinion. Like, I think it'll be more fun like when we actually have kids, but right now I just think of it as a very stressful like holiday. Like, I'm just kind of like, whose families do we go to? We need to make sure we call this person, like make sure to get a gift for this person, who's dating who. We can't leave them out. We need to get them a gift. Like, it's just a lot. Like, I miss when I was little and I could just make you a freaking bracelet and you were very excited. Or at least you pretended, you know? But nothing is cheap nowadays, and yeah, that's how I feel about it, okay? And not to be a downer. All right, I am putting this kind of in my outer V. I just kind of want to build it to make it a little bit deeper. It's like a khaki green kind of color, which I actually really like it right now. This would look really nice with some mustard shades, just saying. But I feel like this is going to be a really good like companion palette, or a palette that's just like quick and easy. But at the same time, I kind of wish this was a little bit deeper. I'm going to even out my eyes, but just to see, let's go in with the lighter, like the only other matte shade on this eye. And then I'll even it out later. But I just want to see if this shows up in my skin tone because it looks very light in the pan. It is this outer shade right here. So far, it's blending perfectly well. It's just, they're a little bit, you know, I kind of always wish that like she would include 3 mattes, like 2 transition shades and 1 darker shade to deepen up things, but I'm not complaining yet, you know? I'm just telling you what I like. Have you guys seen all the Lady Gaga reviews? I'm just kind of like, do I want it? Do I not want it? I ordered 1 lip pencil. That's all I've ordered so far, because at first you could only pre-order them as sets, and I didn't like any of the sets. Like I was like, if she let me pick what I wanted in the set, that would be awesome. But I don't like predetermined like sets most of the time, especially when I haven't tried the product, so I don't know if I'm gonna even like it. But my thing is just the glitter eyeshadows. I have a lot of those, and they end up drying out because I don't use them often enough. So I'm kind of like, do I even want to get that? I would get the nude one because that was the one I would probably use the most. Okay, so I'm done with that. You can build it up a little bit in terms of like the green, but it's not going to be like the darkest outer V. You might want to reach for, you know, a darker brown, something like that if you want a little bit more dimension, but I still really like the way that this is coming together so far. And I used the Sony G Blender Pro for both of these. This is by far my favorite eye brush, by far. It really killed me not to get her new collection, but I figure I have to think about it for at least 2 months for a $260 like brush set. Like, it would make it so that I can't, sometimes it sucks because I feel like I need to review new makeup for you guys in order for people to kind of find my channel, and getting that brush set would just not make that happen. I also really want to save up for a new camera, so I'm trying to be a little bit pickier. Okay, so we are going to take this darker green and then this gold on the inner corner. So that's kind of where we're going right now. So I'm going to start actually with the gold. And I'm going to go in with a dry brush first. This is my Sonia G Builder 1. I literally want to buy another eye brush set, so I'm really excited that she's coming out with the Sky eye set, and that's kind of what made me not pull the trigger as well, because I was like, I can use eye brushes so much more than I use face brushes, if that makes sense. I don't know. It's a pretty gold. Thing is with her golds, I mean, we've seen a million of her golds. I think that is like her signature color. They're all gorgeous, but we could literally just do a video on every single gold shade that she has, and I would love it if you guys could guess how many gold shades she has, because it's a lot. But I do like it with this green. I think it was a good color choice. And then let's go ahead. Whew, I think I got some in my eye. All right, let's go in with this darker green on the other side of the brush. All right, so it's not packing as much as a punch as I want it to, so I am going to go ahead and wet my brush. Okay, so much better wet. It's definitely going on way more intense wet. And then we're gonna dip back into that gold. The gold is definitely like the brightest shade of this little palette. And as you guys can see, like there's no fallout, which was nice. I got a comment saying like, why do you mention that? But like some people are interested in whether there's fallout or not. It doesn't really bother me. I don't think it means like it's a bad palette by any means, unless it's like, you know, but when you get a lot of glitter on your face, it is annoying. Like I'm not gonna sit here and say like it's not, but I don't necessarily regard fallout as much as a lot of people do. All right, so to finish off the lower lash line, let's go ahead and go in with the, might as well just go all for green today, right? So we're gonna do this shade. All right, and then I'm gonna dip into a little bit of that gold and go right in that inner corner just because I want it to be a little bit brighter. My problems with greens is I usually don't love them because I feel like they can almost make my skin tone like, I don't know, I just feel like it brings out the bags under my eyes. I don't know, I mean, I could be crazy, but I don't feel like it's the most flattering shade on me personally, but I also still really like the look. I just feel like I have to have like a highlighted under eye to make it look okay. But let's see here. All right, I'm gonna dip into that other matte, that like lighter tone, the more neutrally shade, and just use that to kind of smoke this out. And then we will be done with the eyes. All right, and then I'm going to use her tan palette to bronze. Right now I just have cream bronzer on. I will say, like, I think this was my, like, her as far as like the stuff she's came out with, this has been my favorite. I know it doesn't work for every single skin tone, but I probably have gotten the most use out of this product. Like, that's the scary part with like Pat McGrath and Natasha Denona. Everything looks stunning, but it really comes down to like, what am I going to get use out of? Am I going to use this palette? Like, and for this one, it's a very simple go-to look. Like, you don't really have to think about it. That's what I love about her little ones. Like, they're good travel palettes. I could have totally used like my fingers with this for sure. All right, so next I'm going to use this shade right here. I forgot that the cream, it does kind of show from the front, which I don't really like when I turn. So I'm going to layer on a ton of highlight and cover that up. So the cream is not what I usually use. I usually just use the actual highlight like shade and the bronzer in this palette. What has been your guys' favorite Natasha Denona release? And what Natasha Denona products do you guys get the most used out of? That's what I want to know. And then I tried to follow your guys' advice on video ideas, but no one's watching them. Like I did my favorite, like I started doing my favorite product videos and I was like, okay, no one's actually interested in these things. All right, so I am going to highlight the inner corner as well with this, and let's go ahead and zoom out and I'll do some comparisons and stuff. All right, so this is the finished look. So I actually had to go back through and look at her Instagram because I was like, okay, I'm with the gold palette. I'm not seeing like, I had read somewhere there was at least one repeat shades because some of them like there's multiple shades in the palette when you buy a mini. And I was like, okay, none of the shades are matching in the actual gold palette. So it turns out in the comments that the shade Sepia is from like a 10-pan palette, which I don't have any of her 10-pan palettes. I think there's like one. So that's really good because that means that I don't have any of the shades in here. And then once I swatched it, I was like, you should have swatched it first. This is what the palette looks like. So I could have definitely used this to deepen up the outer V. It's just not matte. It does have a shimmer in it. It's, you know, so there you go. If you want a darker color of the palette, but it's not a matte, you know what I mean? So I would still prefer a matte in the outer V and to deepen up the crease rather than something with shimmer in it, but that's just my preference. But yeah, my bad. It's a lot to keep up with, you guys. Okay, there's so many palettes coming that I'm just like, oh, comedy. Okay, but overall, I would say, you know, the fact that you are getting new shades, I don't think it looks too similar to the actual gold palette if you already have it, other than the packaging, which I like. The golds are probably going to be similar, but I feel like the golds in all of our palettes are going to be similar. You know what I mean? So, but there's no greens in here. I feel like this would pair beautifully with this palette, especially if you wanted to use like the Dijon shade, like the mustard shades in here are going to pair really nicely with this. So I am not mad at it. I did end up wanting to add I added a nude waterline color just because I felt like the look was just a little bit too dark for daytime. Like I just wanted to bring brightness to my eyes. I don't, like I said, the greens aren't my favorite. I'm trying to get over that. And I actually like the way this turned out. But yeah, these are the two minis I have so far. This is the nude mini. And I will say, like, I really like the mini formula so far. I know that there were some previous ones that weren't so great, but I found it to be consistent with the mini nude. So if you like this formula, you'll like this one. Like I said, the only thing is I wish that it was a little bit deeper in terms of the green. So you do have to build it up a little bit, but there's nothing, I can't say anything bad about it. As far as the Metropolis palette, that does have a green in there, so I wanted to compare. And if you have the Safari palette, you might be like, oh, okay, it's too similar, which I could totally get that. I would say it's probably more similar to Safari palette, which I don't have anymore. But if you're looking at the Metropolis palette, like her new one, she does have some greeny tones in here, but these ones are more intense greens. Like, I don't think you could really say that they're the same, but I will swatch them just so you guys can see. Yeah, so this one is deeper than this khaki one, and then this one is a little bit brighter than the khaki. So it is what, you know, they are similar, but they're not exactly the same. I would say if you're someone who, you know, I think the mini palettes are for someone who's on the go. If you maybe didn't want to buy the bigger palettes, I still would recommend the bigger gold palette over this little one. I don't think you get that true, like, those special shades in there that are in the bigger gold palette, but I still recommend this. I still think it's a good palette and I will use it. I like how small they are. They can stay anywhere I want them to stay, and you can get just like a cute look with your fingers. So they're more worth it because they're cheap. They're 25 bucks. So I would recommend it if you are going to use the shades in it. I do wish that the transition shade was a little bit darker. You guys can see on my skin tone, it really blends in, but that's just something to think about. If you are deeper than I am, it might not show up on you. So that is it for this palette tutorial or palette look. I also feel like this is one where you can really change the lip color. Like if I could do a brown, I could have done a brown, but I didn't do a brown. I did her Susanna lipstick, but I feel like it would be a very nice fall vibe if I did do a brown lipstick. So that is an option as well. I might do that for the intro. We will see how crazy I get. But let me know what you guys think if you guys are going to be picking this up. And I will see you guys in the next video. Please don't forget to subscribe before you leave. Bye, guys.